Your name, please.
Jeff Wells.
Occupation.
Bookmaker.
And your chosen specialised subject.
The life and paintings of JMW Turner.
Mr. Wells, you have 2 minutes on the life and paintings of JMW Turner, starting... Now, which ship is depicted by Turner being tugged to her last berth to be broken up?
Temeraire.
Correct. What was the first oil painting which Turner exhibited at the Royal Academy in 1796?
Fisherman at Sea.
Correct. What was the title of the long series of prints divided into categories according to subject matter and issued by Turner from 1807?
The Liber Studiorum.
Correct. Which academician, known for his diary of artistic life, befriended Turner when he was seeking election to the Academy?
Joseph Farrington.
Correct. Turner often signed his works R.A.P.P. R.A. stands for Royal Academician. What does P.P. stand for?
Professor of Perspective.
Correct. What was the name of the Yorkshire house at which Turner often stayed with his friend and patron Walter Fawkes?
Farnley Hall.
Correct. In the 1806 painting of the Battle of Trafalgar, from what viewpoint was the deck of the Victory observed according to the title?
The Shrouds of the Mizzenmast.
Correct. Which German writer's theory prompted the 2 deluge pictures shown in the 1843 exhibition?
Goethe.
Correct. What was the title of Turner's own manuscript poem from which he quoted lines to add to his picture titles?
Fallacies of Hope.
Correct. Which favourite picture exhibited in 1815 did Turner bequeath to the National Gallery to be hung next to 2 paintings by Claude Lorraine?
Dido building Carthage.
Correct. Who was Turner's landlady when he stayed in Margate?
Mrs. Booth.
Correct. What was the name of Turner's younger daughter who is said to appear with her sister Evelina in Crossing the Brook?
Georgiana.
Correct. Who was the composer of Glees with whose widow Turner struck up a close relationship in the late 1790?
Sarah Danby.
Correct. Which lady leaning from a window was described in Turner's obituary in the Athenaeum as looking out of a monster mustard pot?
Juliet.
No, Jessica. Turner made a watercolour of the funeral at St. Paul's of the President of the Academy who died in 1830. Who was he?
Lawrence.
Correct. Which critic led a campaign of vilification against Turner in the early 1800s?
Beaumont.
Correct. In 1812, Turner designed and built himself a villa at Twickenham. What was the first name he gave it?
Solus Lodge.
Correct. Turner was very anxious that one of his exhibits at the Academy in 1812 should be hung in a favourable position. Which painting was it?
Snowstorm, Hannibal crossing the Alps.
Is correct. And at the end of that round, Mr. Wells, you have scored 17 points and no passes. Thank you very much. For other bookmakers, Jeff Wells, lying in second place with 17 points on the life and paintings of JMW Turner. Your general knowledge question starting now. From which of the armed forces did Prince Edward resign in January?
Marines.
Correct. In which part of the human body are the bones called the humerus, the radius, and the ulna?
Arm.
Correct. The 4th Thursday in November is a national holiday in the USA. What's it called?
Thanksgiving.
Correct. Which well-known television personality introduces programs with the words hello, good evening, and welcome?
David Frost.
Correct. What is the name of the tower of the Houses of Parliament which houses Big Ben?
Pass.
Which American tennis player was popularly known as Little Mo?
Maureen Connolly.
Correct. The so-called Addled Parliament of 1614, which passed no legislation, was summoned by which king?
Charles I.
No, James I. H.G. Wells wrote a book about the invasion of England by creatures from Mars. What was its title?
War of the Worlds.
Correct. After Caesar's assassination, the forces of Brutus and Cassius were defeated by Mark Antony and Octavian near which city?
Philippi.
Correct. By what name is the Nuffield Radio Astronomy Laboratories in Cheshire more usually known?
Pass.
In which ballad by Tchaikovsky is there a battle with the king of the mice?
Nutcracker.
Correct. The town of Carrara is particularly noted for what?
Pass.
The Olympic modern pentathlon consists of 5 events. 3 are swimming, shooting, and running. Name one of the other 2.
Riding.
Correct. What name is given to a word or phrase that is spelt the same when read backwards or forwards?
Pass.
In the American Civil War, which Confederate commander was fatally wounded by one of his own men at Chancellorsville in May 1863?
Lee.
No, Thomas Jackson. In ancient Rome, an ass was a copper coin. Which coin was originally equivalent to 10 asses?
Dinar.
No, the denarius. Sir Walter Raleigh led 2 expeditions in search of gold to which South American river?
Amazon.
No, the Orinoco. Which 19th century French artist painted the execution of the Emperor Maximilian?
Pass.
In a play by Euripides, who offered to die in order to redeem the life of her husband Admetus, king of Pherae?
Pass.
In London, there are 4 independent symphony orchestras on a permanent basis. Which is the oldest? And you may answer.
Philharmonic.
No, it's a London Symphony Orchestra. And that's the end of that round, Mr. Wells. Your score has gone up to 26 points. You pass on 6. The name of the tower in the House of Parliament that houses Big Ben is the Clock Tower. The Nuffield Radio Astronomy Laboratories in Cheshire, more familiarly known as Jodrell Bank. The Tuscan town of Carrara is particularly noted for its marble. The name given to a word or phrase that's spelt the same when read backwards or forwards is a palindrome. The 19th century French artist who painted the execution of the Emperor Maximilian was Manet. And the play by Euripides, in which a lady offered to die to redeem the life of her husband Admetus, is Alcestis. Mr. Wells, thank you very much. So that brings us to the end of the second round, the general knowledge round, and the end of this week's contest. And let us remind ourselves of how they got on. And in joint third place with 26 points are Lady Bramall and Jeff Wells. In second place with 28 points is William Bellingham. But the winner with an outstanding 35 points is the pharmacist Susanna Harris. Well, our congratulations to Susanna Harris, who now becomes our 13th semi-finalist, and our thanks and commiserations to the gallant runners-up.